It's miserable outside. I can't deal with this heat. I'm not built for the heat. I'm a portly fellow. The heat does not do well with me. We do not get along together. And it's just humid outside. I just want it to be fall all year around. That's the only thing I want in life, is to have fall weather all year around. Jeans, a hoodie. God, is it too much to ask for? Instead, we're in Pittsburgh, and we are blessed to be able to experience the most unpredictable and ridiculous seasons I think anyone could experience. I mean, I don't even know how to explain what we have to deal with being people from Pittsburgh. I mean, you got snow one day, then it's 80 the next day, then it'll be fucking 50 and beautiful, then the next week it'll be down to fucking 8 degrees, pouring snow, and it's just a very, very unpredictable, unforgiving environment. But, I mean, I'm complaining first world problems. I'm sitting in a house with air conditioning. I mean, it's really not too bad. Regardless, though, a couple things I wanted to talk about. So, excuse me, I'm hoarse. It's playoff hockey season, if you don't know. And a couple nights ago, the Penguins lost to the Washington Capitals. So I'm a little hoarse from screaming at the TV. But like I said, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about because I feel you guys should know about them. So whenever you're married, I feel that there's two types of dates that are your go-tos, really. And one of them is cooking dinner at your house while watching a movie and eating that dinner while finishing the movie and watching another movie. Or the other type of date, if you're getting very, very fancy, is going out to dinner and then coming home and watching a movie. Jesus. Regardless, you know what? I'm sorry for, like I said, I'm a little bit hoarse. Everyone could blame Alexander Ovechkin, the motherfucker. But, so this weekend I was sitting on the couch with my wife and we were looking for some movie to watch. And, you know, you go through Netflix for hours and hours and hours and still can't find shit. But randomly I went on Amazon and I was going through, go-to comedy. And I came across this movie called Two Night Stand. And it is with Miles Teller. Miles Teller is a young actor who is, he's younger, but he's booming right now. He was first in the movie Project X. He played like the cool badass varsity football player who was like real good and got all the bitches. And the kids wanted him to be at his party because he was super cool. Then he was in a bunch of other movies. Regardless, though, he is an incredible actor. One of my favorites with him is a movie called Whiplash, where he plays some sort of like crazy jazz drummer, but it's super, super intense and super good movie. But this movie, Two Night Stand, is about him and the girl that's in there. Can't remember her name. She was whatever, but she and him like get on a dating site, I guess, and hook up, and obviously are meant to only have a one-night stand, but they find out that there's this crazy blizzard and they're forced to experience that awkward second day because there's so much snow she can't leave. So it's a really awesome movie. I thought it was just like a hidden gem because like I've never heard about it. I knew it wasn't in movie theaters. Jesus. Horse is a motherfucker. Alexander Ovechkin. Playoff hockey, man, though. You cannot even complain about anything. Every team that's in the playoffs right now is just like a bunch of animals, a bunch of big-ass dogs fighting for the cup. And it is super exciting. I love watching it. Regardless, though, that movie was incredible. Again, Two Night Stand. I recommend it. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I mentioned a book during Justin Criato's podcast in the intro called 37, written by Peter Stenson. It is a crazy-ass book, and I finished it, and I just want to recommend that to anyone. Like, if you're into fictional books it's just, if you're into reading, this is a good one. Again, 37, Peter Stenson. I recommend that. I'll stop rambling, which brings me to my next point. And the main reason we're all listening to this fucking thing is my guest for episode 17 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. His name is Brian Howe, a.k.a. Sikes, Sikes. I personally know him as Sikes, so that's what I call him. Again, his name is Brian Howe, but he says, everyone knows him by a different name, so whatever you've heard of him as, go with that. But we sat down and we had a great conversation. Me and him didn't really know each other that well. We sat next to each other in a movie like 5 years ago, but other than that, we probably never spoke to each other. I think we both knew of each other because we ran in somewhat the same crowds, so we had a lot of mutual friends. But he does a lot of stuff in the city. He's involved in bands. He's involved in podcasts. He's involved in, the beer scene. And we talk about all that in this episode, so I'm not going to get into it. But Sikes was an awesome dude. I'm glad we had this conversation. We sat down for a while. It's a nice long interview. We get into all kinds of shit, nostalgic stuff, what's popping in the city right now, stuff that he's involved with, how he got involved with it all. But again, this is a great episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. And without further ado, episode 17 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Brian Howe, a.k.a. Sikes.
Telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. That you have a lot of shit that's posted of the IPAs and the local breweries.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that work at a lot of breweries, and I help organize a heavy metal beer festival that we do here in Pitt. Yeah, Brutal Beer Fest.
Brutal Beer Fest.
Yeah, it's gonna be our third year.
Third.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's tight.
So where does that take place?
Mr. Smalls.
Oh, that's cool.
The first year was at Spirit, but last year we did Mr. Smalls, and we're doing Mr. Smalls again this year.
And how many acts do you have performing?
There'll be about 10 acts.
Okay.
Last year we had 4 out-of-town acts. Baroness headlined.
Baroness.
Yeah, they're a bigger rock metal band.
Yeah.
And then we had Fit for an Autopsy.
Yeah, I know.
See You Next Tuesday.
See You Next Tuesday.
Yeah,
Man.
they came back for a show for that.
Wow.
Yeah, they're good buddies of ours.
I remember. Do you know Brandon Matty?
Yeah.
Brandon Matty had a hoodie that said "cunt." It was a black hoodie, white print right across it, and I remember that was just the first. Whenever you think of the local music scene and you think of all them old TV or them old T-shirts that they made, Amir had a shirt that said "Ask your girl what my dick tastes like," and real vulgar, fucked up or power slogans. It was either real vulgar or power slogans, and those were always the best.
Yeah, I had the a See You Next Tuesday shirt. I had the cunt too, but it was the Nike logo.
Yeah,
it said cunt.
That's some epic shit. I wish we could still get some things. Before we now pause this real quick.
Yeah, you got it.
Introduce yourself real quick.
Word. My name is Brian, a.k.a. Sikes, a.k.a. Brian Sikes.
Brian Sikes.
Or Brian Howe. Everybody calls me something different. But I'm an artist based out of Pittsburgh, born and bred. I play in the metal band Greywalker. I do hip-hop stuff under Sikes. I also do a podcast called Start the Beat with Sikes that's artist and musician based, but not exclusive. That's just who I know. It's who I run with.
Yeah.
And that's that's pretty much it. There's more. We'll probably get into it.
We'll probably get into it. Now, me and you we have a lot of mutual friends. We were saying, I don't personally know you. Me and you sat next to each other at a movie screening like 4 years ago.
What movie was it?
Scream 4.
Yeah, dude, I told you said that, and I don't even remember seeing Scream 4.
I think you were wearing a jacket that had the Dead Alive patch on it.
Oh yeah, that's very yeah.
Yeah, see, like those are little staples that I do remember. Surprisingly, though, Scream 4 was a breath of fresh air compared to Scream 3, because that's like my favorite horror movie anthology or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, Scream 1 is my favorite horror movie probably of all time. I think that is that's the most realistic one.
Scream is tight. I think it does get overlooked.
Overlooked crazy. It's like that was like a 90s staple. It's like Drew Barrymore in the beginning with the short bob haircut.
Yeah.
That's everything you could have ever wanted.
I think it's wild how a lot of, much like in music, people hold on to dear life to your Beatles and your Led Zeppelins and stuff, things like that. A lot of the horror people hold on to dear life to your Michael Myers and your Jasons, and those are great. Personally, out of the old school stuff, I'm a Freddy guy. Those movies are just fucking wild to me.
Yeah,
like, I just love all the effects in it. It's just I really like absurd things.
Yeah, I mean, like the exaggerated comedies, like Puppet Master.
Yeah, the Puppet Master stuff's great. Even some of the Hellraiser stuff.
Yeah, that's
I've always felt the Jason movies were a little overrated personally, and the Halloweens. I mean, I don't mind them; they're good.
Yeah, I'll watch them. I was never like crazy about them. My favorite back then was definitely like Michael Myers, because like they had the older movies before like Scream and all that started to come out. So I remember that. My the reason I got into movies is because like my aunt and uncle owned a movie store. Whenever I was like, probably since I was born until I was like maybe 8 years old, but they got me into movies heavy. We would just go there, watch whatever. My favorite movie ever, The Monster Squad. You familiar with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, like that's like my shit. It's probably my favorite movie ever. Before we get off topic, though. What's in the cup? What's in the cup?
What's in the cup?
Yeah.
We're drinking some Takes Two to Mango by a brand called Snapple. Don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's the best stuff on earth.
See, I've never had this flavor. I'm usually a Diet Peach Snapple.
Yeah.
I feel like that the Diet flavor has like, it's not as too crazy of a sugary taste.
Yeah.
So I usually fuck with the Diet Peach Snapple, but this is really good. I'm a mango guy usually.
The story behind this. This was originally Bret Michaels' Troparaca blend from when they did The Celebrity Apprentice. And he made a diabetic flavor of Snapple that was like sugar free and had all this stuff, and he co-signed it.
That's real?
Yeah, that's real shit.
Bret Michaels, Poison.
Wow. Rock of Love.
So what we're drinking right now is that blend.
This is Bret Michaels' creation, but then the license and shit ran out, so they ended up renaming it to Takes Two to Mango. But I've been fucking with this stuff since it was Bret's drink. I'm not diabetic by any means, but I don't really like overly sugary shit. And this
has no sugar, or wait?
Well, no, supposedly, it says 38 grams. I don't know. And whenever I opened this, I told you it did taste a little different.
Yeah, they probably
tweaked the recipe.
Yeah,
sure. But this was very close to the Bret Michaels blend, because I remember I didn't see it for a while.
Yeah.
And then I was talking with somebody else about it one day, and I looked it up to see if they still made it, and then that's when I found, they changed the name.
That's fucking wild. I'd have never known that.
Yeah.
I never watched Celebrity Apprentice.
I never watched it either, but
now the celebrity...
I remember the only reason I ever got it in the first place because it had Bret Michaels on it. Like,
I mean, that's
fucking
enough
face was on it.
That's
and
enough.
I was like, I'm gonna drink this, and I was like, it's actually good. I like
Absolutely. It. If there was a drink with Kane on it, like I would get it immediately, even if it was something that I didn't like whatsoever. But yeah, so wait, let's go back to this metal beer fest that you were talking about. So because you got into that, and that's intriguing to me. So a metal beer fest, like I feel like that the beer scene is what's a good word for it? Very, very like trendy.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
right now,
it's
like
getting
it's
nuts. Yeah,
super trendy. So like different like flavor notes. It's almost like a good coffee. Like I don't drink personally, but like I feel the same way about people feel about IPAs as like coffee. I feel it's like I spend the extra like whatever if it's like, you know, brewed a certain way, or if it has like all them like fucking little it has like a mint flavor notes, or if it's brewed local.
I whenever I get into something, I get into it. You know,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
it's music or movies or And honestly, I ended up getting into beer because of coffee, because I started working in coffee, and I had a job working at a coffee shop, and I never gave a shit about coffee before this. I just needed a job.
Exactly.
And then, you know, I'm working there, and I start getting into making drinks, and you learn the craft, and I start
barista.
Yeah, you start finding out all these things, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And then, I mean, at the time, I really didn't even drink.
You're like a bartender.
Yeah,
it's
but
just
then,
like you're using non-alcoholic shit.
Somebody that I worked with was into home brewing.
Okay.
And then they started like explaining to me like a lot of the comparisons between, you know, craft beer and coffee, and so I started just trying out some beers, and then I got into it. I've never really been a liquor guy. Yeah. Even to this day, I really don't fuck with that stuff. But yeah, I like having beers.
So
I like
you're a big coffee
beers.
guy now, though?
I wouldn't say I'm a big coffee guy, but I do like coffee. I drink coffee every day. I go to a nice coffee shop every day.
Now, what's your favorite in the area?
My favorite coffee shop?
Yeah, like what's your favorite place to go?
I go to 21st Street Coffee every day downtown.
Okay.
But I mean, they don't roast there, but they always have they have a lot of stuff from like Ruby Roasters and I think some of those people spun off from Intelligentsia.
Okay,
and then,
yeah.
They carry like this Tim Wendelbo shit. He's like this Norway roaster. They like import his coffee over.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Man, I'll probably have to go there. I don't think I've ever been to that one.
There's some other good shops. Like there's like Era Vista or Vista that's over in Shadyside on Ellsworth. Yeah. And they don't roast either, but they carry a lot of stuff from like Passenger, which is a really good coffee roaster.
I know who that is. Yeah.
And Counterculture, which is another roaster.
Jeez.
I don't know if they're
you
from
got
PA.
all kinds of crazy coffee knowledge.
Yeah, I just like I feel like I don't know that much, but
yeah,
like I
have no idea. I just try.
I just like absorb shit, you know. Like I like if I try something, I have like a really good memory for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, if you like it, then like I mean that's your shit. My favorite place to go as far as coffee wise lately is Black Forge.
Oh yeah.
I just like. I don't know. I love the whole vibe up there. It's like they're doing some different shit.
Yeah,
and you
shout
gotta
out
support
to
that.
Nick and Ashley. They're good. They're good friends of ours. They actually they have a latte named after my metal band right now.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the Greywalker.
The Greywalker.
Yeah, they made a latte for us.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah,
is that the first time anything was ever named after a musical project?
No, they did something else. I know they did. There's another local metal band called Molasses Barge, and I think they did a drink for them.
That's what's up.
They may have done a drink for somebody else too.
But for you personally,
well, we had done 2 beers with Penn Brewery.
Oh yeah,
prior to this. So rewinding
through
Greywalker, yeah. Okay. So rewinding back to Brutal Beer Fest. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we do is all of the bands that play team up with a brewery, and they get an exclusive beer made for them.
Oh, that's
exclusively
awesome.
For the event.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just went to that Punchline show and I seen that they had that
with Dancing Gnome.
Yeah, so that was I tasted that. That was really good as well.
Yeah, so that was that. I mean, that's how I got roped into Brutal Beer Fest was through Greywalker, because the people that started the festival, they're a married couple, Meg and James Evans, and they're both brewers at 2 different breweries. Okay. James Evans brews at Spoonwood in Bethel Park.
All right.
And Meg Evans is the head brewer at the Rock Bottom in the Waterfront.
Oh yeah.
So right across from the Improv.
I've been there.
Yeah, and so they're married. They both are into beer, and they're both metalheads.
That's awesome.
So they had this idea of like starting this festival thing, and then luckily somehow through the grapevine they knew somebody that knew us, and then shot us an email and asked if it was something we would be into, and it was just like, do you know who you're talking to? Of course this is something we'd be into.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's like 3 years running, you said?
Yes. 3 years
3 years running. And like you had this, you said the first year it was at Spirit.
Yeah, the first year was at Spirit. Last year was at Mr. Smalls, because it grew. The first year was smaller. There was, maybe I would say maybe 24 breweries.
Okay.
And maybe like 6 bands.
That's still good though.
Last year we had 10 bands in like 30 something breweries, around 30.
Damn, and that 30 breweries, that's all local?
No, it was local
Okay.
and national.
Oh, that's cool though.
And then this year we're doing pretty much the same numbers. I can't speak to anything, so we haven't announced any of the acts that are yet. But in terms of the breweries and the bands, we're focusing on bringing a lot more out of town stuff in.
That's awesome.
Like we want to really be able to get something for the beer crowd and like breweries that don't normally come to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Or, don't have much distribution here. So it's a chance. It's like, gives people a reason to get off their
a little
ass
bit
and
exposure.
come out. Yeah.
Like if there's definitely a big scene here, I feel.
Oh, it's huge.
And like
the beer scene's insane right
more
now.
exposure to everyone else, I'm sure it benefits them.
Yeah.
So how'd you get involved with like all the music stuff? Like rewind it back to like the beginning. Like what were you like growing up in? Like where were you from?
So I grew up in Pittsburgh, specifically in Wilkinsburg.
Okay.
Went to Pittsburgh public schools, and my parents were both really young when they had me. Like my mom was 17, my dad was 18.
All right.
So by the time I'm like 4 and 5, my parents are in their early 20s, and they're metalheads. Like my mom, back to Bret Michaels, into all that.
Parents
were
big into music.
Yeah, big into music. They didn't play or anything like that, but they were big into music. And since they were young parents, they worked all the time, and I got shuffled off to my grandmother's house a lot. And my mom's older brother, my uncle, he was that type of dude that just never moved out the house.
Yeah.
But he was a huge record collector and a huge movie collector.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So that was where like my expansion of like knowledge of movies and music really came from him. My collecting mentality that I have now.
That's awesome because he already like that's like the filter of the cool shit already.
Totally. You know what I mean? Now like I'll give it up to my family. I'm here and I'm okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I have a lot of funny feelings about a lot of them because they were that. As I've gotten older, I've like started to realize like, oh shit, what would I do if I was the age I am now and had like a 15-year-old kid?
Hell yeah.
Shit's going to be weird. But when I was growing up, I didn't get it. And like, I mean, I'm here, I'm fine, 10 fingers, 10 toes.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of fucked up shit that happened. And like, just thinking about them, like, it's like I'm thinking about it, but I'm just trying to stay positive. But music, I would say my exposure to the arts was definitely probably like one of the most positive things that came out of my upbringing. But so I was always exposed to a ton of music. But I grew up in Wilkinsburg, and so at school there wasn't a lot of kids that I hung out with that were like into the Rolling Stones or like the Iron Maiden and that kind of stuff.
So you were more into like heavier shit back in the day because
rock
of your
and stuff
parents.
like that. Yeah, because of my
that's
parents.
Cool.
But like the cool thing about like going to public school was like all of my friends weren't. You know what I mean? So
what were they into?
They were into like just like all the like radio stuff.
Yeah, that's
just
true. Like the mainstream,
the hip hop and the pop stuff, or
okay,
So I had this like really weird mixture of music that I was into, and then like you fast forward to the time that I'm in like 7th grade.
Yeah.
Like 7th, but when I was in 7th grade, I was like, fucking going home and filling my backpack up with spray paint, and then we were going out and
running
like
outside.
all my friends listened to hip hop and shit like that, and I just got into this whole graffiti
scene
world,
of it.
and that was like how I got into making music, was in that time, because I always wanted to make music, but I never really had a way to do it because like, the family didn't have a ton of money, and we lived in an apartment. Shit was weird, but I ended up getting MTV made a thing for Sony PlayStation called the MTV's Music Generator.
Oh yeah,
and it's basically Fruity Loops for your PlayStation.
I don't think I remember that at all.
Yeah, it runs. It's like a step sequencing, like electronic music program, and I was like, wow, like I can make music with this, So I started just making like little goofy rap beats on that thing, and then me and my friends and like 8th grade, 9th grade would just like write these stupid rap songs about like,
and that's where it started from.
Titties and butts and stuff like that.
Titties and butts.
But then, and then I got older, turned 16, got a job at Taco Bell. actually
Shout
bought
out
like
T-Bell.
yeah, I bought like a real beat machine, and like from there it never stopped. That was it.
Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me just spiderweb off real quick. Do you still eat Taco Bell?
You know what's really funny? I tried going to Taco Bell this morning for breakfast.
Oh yeah? I've
Yeah.
never once had their breakfast ever.
It's not great, but we were in some desperate shit this morning.
That's understandable.
I was just because I work really close to a Taco Bell, and the spot where I normally get breakfast in the morning, they're not open on Mondays because it's like a family-owned
It's fucked
cafe
up.
thing. It's Pittsburgh. Nothing's fucking open on Mondays.
It jams you up.
Yeah. And I was running late and like, hungry. So
T-Bell, why not?
Yeah,
Try it out.
Yeah, we tried to go, and I'm not going to get into this whole fucking story, but the Northside Taco Bell is the worst place on the planet.
Oh, yeah?
The guys have
Because-
the worst fucking luck there.
I'm sure the one on Banksville Road could compete with it because it's garbage as well. But
yeah, I mean, I go to Taco Bell every once in a while. I'm not one of those people that's all like Taco Bell's great. It's not great.
No,
It's
the
shit.
reason, no, don't get it twisted. The reason I ask you that is because I want to know how terrible it is. Because if you worked in it, you know the realness of it. So do you still eat it, or are you like, fuck that? Because me personally, I worked at a gas station one time that had a Subway in it. I saw what Subway's meat and everything looks like and smells like and just how it's packaged, and I do not fuck with that anymore. The only thing I will get from Subway nowadays is a tuna salad.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing. Like, their turkey is made from pork and it has turkey flavoring in it or some
Well, I'll
shit.
tell you what, man. Like, I don't know. Like, as far as like my diet goes, like I haven't eaten like chicken or beef or anything. I still eat seafood. I never gave
yeah?
up seafood, but all that other shit, I stopped eating that shit probably like 8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
So are you a vegan?
No, not a vegan at all.
Vegetarian?
No, I still eat fish.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So you just don't eat. Like,
I don't fuck with that stuff because I don't know. I don't trust where the fuck it's coming from anymore.
I can understand that.
You know what I mean? Like, and then at the time,
It is fucking disgusting
it's
because it
fucking
can't
wild
be
to
that
me,
good.
man. It's wild. I don't fucking trust it. And even if I go somewhere nice, I don't trust the shit.
So you don't eat any meat except for seafood, like
Yeah.
some seafoods. Okay,
Yeah.
no, I can understand that for sure. I mean, like, I could never just give shit up. Like, I have to have a burger, shit like that.
Yeah.
Chicken wings every while, but like, you know, nowadays I started like. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I get grossed out about shit. Like, for instance, I was eating chicken wings the other day, and I was just sitting there eating them, and I was like, this is fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's
I
wild.
was like, I just ate like 15 chickens. I was like, I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I just had a couple baskets full of chicken wings, and I was like, that's like 9 chickens I just ate. I just ate 9 chickens. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, that is so fucked up to think about, because it's just like, I don't know. Regardless, that's a whole different road to go on. But, yeah.
Nah, dude, honestly, even when I ate meat, I always had an issue with like wings, like eating stuff off the bone.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, like I don't give a fuck about a chicken.
Yeah.
Or anything really.
I don't give
like,
a fuck
like
about it.
I have there's no ethics really behind. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could bullshit it and be like make a good argument for it, but really,
Yeah.
I just did it because I was like, this shit is grossing me out. Like, I don't know what the fuck.
That's
I'm eating.
understandable.
And especially like at the time, like I wasn't making a whole lot of money. I was living on like, you know, double cheeseburger budget
Yeah.
type of shit like that.
For
so I was
sure.
like, nah, like I was like,
that's
this
understandable
is
though.
Fucking gross. So
I
just
have my
backed out of
guilty
it.
nights where I my dark times where I'm at the Taco Bell drive-through at 2 a.m. with my wife. Whenever we're sitting here watching a movie, and she's like, you know, I'd really like some Taco Bell.
But to answer your question, how bad it is,
Yeah, how bad is it?
I don't think it was that bad.
Okay, then that's good though. That's all I needed to
Yeah,
know.
no.
I ask every single person that works or have worked at a place like you know, I mean, like, I'm a Chipotle guy. So I met someone who worked at Chipotle one time. It's literally the first thing I asked him. I said, "Is it fucked up back there, or is it like all right?" Because like if they're working there and like, no, you're good, you could eat there, that's fine. But like, if someone's working there and they say, I wouldn't eat here, and I'm not going to eat there, obviously. You know what I mean? Look at the TGI Fridays down at the waterfront that had, did you read about that in the paper?
Nah, what
They
happened?
had a crazy mice infestation down there.
Well, dude, I feel like every fucking restaurant has mice and bugs. It's just what you hear about.
Yeah, that's a good point. I bet.
Especially down there in that environment. Look
Yeah,
where the fuck
with
they're
the
at.
river.
That area is not meant for restaurants. They just put all that shit there, and then of course you're gonna get shit crawling in your restaurant. up
I've
from the
never
river.
seen no rats running around in rock bottom though. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not saying like it's crazy, but
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right now.
I'm sure that
every
there's stuff that
restaurant
no one
has
sees.
mice. Every restaurant has a cockroach.
I bet
It's
you
there.
every restaurant is like the movie Waiting to some extent with Ryan Reynolds. But yeah. So you got into music back full circle.
Yeah, back full
after we
circle.
got into this Taco Bell rabbit hole.
But yeah, dude, I got into music like just through fucking around, and
Yeah.
'cause it was still like an expression of art, and like I always wanted to do music. That was
Yeah.
always like my first love.
Did you
But
play instruments?
Nah,
No, you just
I never
were like
did.
producer type.
Yeah, so that was just like I always wanted to like, my first thing I wanted to do was play bass, but it just never happened.
Yeah.
And then, like I started making the beats and shit when I was like 14.
Yeah.
So that's still pretty young, and then I just stuck with that.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
dope.
'cause it
Then.
was
So you've been doing it since you were 14.
Yeah,
Jesus, and how old are you now?
32.
32.
Yeah.
So you got some time behind it.
Yeah, I do.
That's dope, though. I mean, and you have been in, a slew of musical projects.
Yeah,
over
definitely throughout the years for sure.
So right now you're involved in Greywalker,
Greywalker, yep.
and then you said you do a hip hop type under Sikes.
Under
I know
Sikes,
you have
yeah.
Sikes and the New Violence.
Yeah, that's when I play with, because I have a full backing band
Oh,
that I
okay.
play shows with.
Yeah.
So that was basically just a way to let people know, like, oh, am I playing with the band or without the band? So if you see Sikes and New Violence, that means the full band's going to be there, and
Oh, that's dope.
we're
That's
we're
definitely
doing
cool.
the whole thing. But if it's just Sikes on a bill, it's just me.
So what's your preferred like genre of music to listen? Like, what kind of shit do you listen to now? Are you like everything still, or
Yeah, it's everything, man. It just comes in waves.
Yeah,
I don't.
I feel that.
It's if something comes out and it's awesome, I can't stop listening to it. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
burn shit out immediately.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like if it's good, I'll just repeat it until it just goes through.
most recently, I've been like, there's an artist. She's a female solo artist, but she plays with a band, and she goes under the name U.S. Girls.
U.S. Girls.
U.S. Girls. She dropped an album earlier this year. It's called In a Poem Unlimited,
Okay.
and it's like just this awesome mixture of like garage rock and trip hop and electronic stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like a really awesome blend of just like American sounds, like
Yeah.
pumped, like very modern, but also very like retro. Like I sound like it's so hard to
US
explain
Girl.
it. U.S. Girls. It's plural.
U.S. Girls.
Yeah, it's
We're gonna
plural.
have to
which-
check it out for
yeah,
sure.
that album's really, really cool. Just the production's on it is great, and it doesn't sound like anything that I would make.
Yeah.
Um,
well, speaking of that, like I have listened to that, like the Sikes and the New Violence. What would you what would you classify your genre as?
I just say that it's
Because
I
it's
don't-
like it's definitely different. Like from my first listening to it, it's like an experimental type hip hop almost.
yeah.
Like
I'd say it's hip hop.
yeah,
It's like I would like to just leave it at that.
I understand
But
that.
people need like there's so many specific things.
But think about
nowadays,
it as to you, like that, like this is the way I talk about it to like any sort of like someone who has like a background in music. Like anyone that has like extensive knowledge in one area could go deeper as far as classifications. But I have no like musical technical terms or anything like that. So like for me to describe that, like if I was just to like look at that name and to hear hip hop, like I would never think of that, because you have like some crazy sounds in there, like just different like experimental shit. Like whenever I put it on, I was like, whoa, like I've never heard anything like this. Like it's like I don't know, like that was the only way I could have ever thought of like how to describe it as like an experimental hip hop, because like you're like your cadence, I guess it would be, is like a hip hop like it was dope. I mean, like it was definitely just like nothing I've ever heard before. I definitely didn't expect it. And I saw on your Instagram you did you had your vinyl, like I saw you got vinyl pressed of that album. And now you just posted today, did you make your own?
Yeah, we the packaging for the record
Yeah,
that opens
like,
up.
that was so sick.
Me and the crew got together. Like I had just prototyped some shit together.
Yeah.
And then I got everything printed out, and then me and the homies got together and like scored and glued and assembled everything ourselves.
Yeah, like that was seriously like awesome how that looked, because like I went across your Instagram and like I try to do a little bit of homework on like everyone that's on here.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, like that was so cool how it's like you open it up and you open another flap and you open another flap and you open another flap. And it was so sick how you like pull out the wax and it's just like that picture right there.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was awesome.
Thank you, man. Yeah, dude. That's the thing is like music was, like I said, music was my first love. But because I wasn't able to do music, I got really into art. But now that it's come back around and music's my main focus, there's still that art side of it that's like that ties in and like, you know, I handle pretty much all of the visual representation for my projects that I do, from like the album packaging down to like music videos and shit like that. I've, you know, directed almost a dozen music videos for myself. Yeah,
like and I mean like I'm definitely new to your music and everything, and I was looking at your like photos, and like your photos are like this crazy like trippy, like your eyes are all fucked up, and I was like, man,
oh yeah,
that's
that was
so sick. How
that
this
was
is,
my shout outs to Hannah Altman. She's a she's a really awesome local photographer. Not local for much longer. I think she's moving. I think she's like for school doing some big things in her life. I'm not sure where exactly she's moving. I know I saw something, but yeah, she's an awesome.
That's awesome though.
Awesome photographer, and like she ded all the photos for that project.
It definitely turned out dope. Like that whole packaging was just like, I appreciate like the whole product of everything. Like you know, anytime you would buy like an old CD and like they would give you like a cool poster that would like fold out, and it's like you always appreciate shit like that.
We're doing I'm working on the album packaging now for the new Greywalker album.
Oh yeah,
and it's gonna come with 3D glasses and all.
That's
the whole booklet's 3D.
Awesome. See, like that shit is just like the little bit of extra, like that right there is just so sick. It's I don't know, I appreciate all that little stuff. I was always someone who like immediately would go towards like all the accessories at shows before I would go to like the shirts and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was more out of choice or default, because like I was always a big dude and everyone was just like made clothes for skinny kids. So like I would have to resort to their bracelets and shit. So you're in Greywalker now. Like how many bands have you been in before this?
Dude,
like you've been in all different kinds, all different genres, right?
Yeah.
It's like what other kind of bands were you in?
The first band I was in, and this was before I was even like rapping in public. Like I had the joke rap shit, and then I started writing like serious songs, but they were just like, I just kept this shit to myself because I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, me and a friend of mine, his name's Dylan, we started doing some like more just like electronic industrial type stuff. Like think like 9 Inch Nails, but without vocals, just like instrumental, but that kind of like dark electronic sort of dancey stuff. And we were playing shows and things like that.
And when was this?
That was probably like, that was right, it was my senior year, and then like probably after. So that was like 2003, 2004. 2005, like we fucked around with that for a few years, and then we ended up turning it into another project, which was where I ended up meeting a shit ton of people. So neither of us were like vocalists at the time. Like I was doing rap shit, but I didn't like sing or anything. So we put together this project under the name Opposites Attract. And what we did was we composed all the music, and then we had a bunch of guests come in and do vocals on all the songs. And then that was where I started meeting a lot of people in the music scene, because before then, I didn't really know anybody outside my small bubble. Yeah. And then the people that we were playing shows with. But that was like around the time of MySpace.
Oh, man.
So we started networking super hard through MySpace and like ended up meeting all of these different people. And that was what really...
Spiderwebs from there.
That's what branched out from there. That project ended up falling apart. But whenever that kind of trailed off, I had met some other rappers in the scene now. Yeah. So I was like, well, and I was also recording rappers in the city too. Okay. Like I was wasn't working at the time. I was just doing like the home studio thing. Yeah. And my old graffiti name was Sikes. Okay. And that's what everybody called me. But like I
where'd that come from?
I like the letters. Yeah. That was it. You know, just like I felt like I worked well with those letters, and that was it.
Yeah, fuck
Simple as hell, you know? And then I was recording rappers, and like people started wanting to shout me out on tracks. Like, you know, but I was like, we can't call you Brian. I was like, fuck it, call me Sikes. So everybody in the rap scene that I knew at the time, they were calling me Sikes. So I knew all these people, and then like whenever it came time to like, I'm going to put out an album, I have all this material I've been sitting on put
plus,
together.
like,
I just released it under Sikes.
Plus like a catalog of people that like are in your corner that you could like, I mean, like those are just more resources to have.
Yeah. So
now let me ask you a question. Since you were like heavy into the music scene, did you notice that like, I feel like that the whole, I don't even know technically what scene it would be. I just call it the scene, like the whole like Octane, all the local shows and everything. I just feel that like I mean, there was so much networking done at those shows.
That was a special time, man.
Yeah, it was a special time in life. Like there's no other way to describe it. It's just like going to all them local shows, like we've all probably been to 100 shows, 100 of the same shows. It's just like we've all, like my wife, even after like me and her got together, it's like I just like found out we were at 100 of the same shows, just like different Mayday Parade shows, like All Time Low, just shit like that. It's just such a crazy scene because like I feel that you don't see that in like the whole rap scene. I feel that you don't see that in like the other like musical scenes.
Oh, it existed.
As far as what?
Like in the rap scene, like that huge networking stuff, it was. We like in the same time that all that stuff was going on.
Yeah.
When I was starting to rap, there was a huge like local rap scene. There was the H-Con. It was like a hookah bar in the South Side.
H-Con.
The H-Con. It's not there anymore. It's what is there now? Southpaw.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was a hookah bar, and they used to have shows. I mean, there would be like 200 people there every weekend, like packed.
Yeah. See, like
and
that
then,
was before.
There was that, and then you had the Shadow Lounge.
Yeah, I remember
in
that.
East Liberty.
Like, I used to go there a bunch.
And there was, I mean, even we were playing shows at a bunch of different weird spots that aren't around anymore.
Yeah, maybe I just didn't have as much access because I hung around with like a lot of the people in like the metal bands and things like that.
Like kind of like where this gets connected and where our stories cross paths was in that same time.
Yeah.
Because I had gotten asked to play a show through one of those promoters, and it was in like Irwin or some shit. It was like one of those VFW Irwin shows.
Yeah.
And it was like What's Left of Her was on it.
Jeez.
Sister Vigilante and Cali AC.
Yep.
It was like this weird hodgepodge of bands. I knew nothing about any of them at the time.
Yeah.
But they asked me to play. I think the Space Pimps played this show.
Oh, wow. The Space Pimps.
Yeah. It was like this real, and like, I didn't know who any of these people were.
Yeah.
But I played and it went over really well. And I met like
and that's
100 new people that day. And like a lot of those people I still know like to this day.
That's
and that's
awesome.
what got me into that
whole scene.
And then like meeting all the like people like your Arcane Havens and your Eyes Have Seen the Glory and like
Eyes
all
Have Seen the Glory. Shout out to them.
You know, all those bands that like we were playing out. Like there was like some places out in like Elizabeth and then like Giorgio's in East Pittsburgh and like all that whole scene. I became like the one weird rapper kid. Yeah,
so you were like into the rap scene before you were into the whole like metal scene and everything.
Yeah. I was definitely I was definitely juggling both. I had already been playing shows in the rap scene, but I always felt like what I did was hip hop.
Yeah.
Going back to like you even saying like, you know, it seemed like kind of experimental.
Yeah.
To me it was always like I'm making hip hop, but I'm just trying to do something that pushes it forward. Like somebody already made something that sounds like that.
Exactly. That's
so
a good
why
way.
do I want to do the same thing? You know?
Yeah. Why do the same shit over and over
with
again?
Art, if you don't have your own unique voice to bring to the table, I don't see any point of even stepping your foot in the door.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to look at it.
I mean, that's not how everybody thinks, and like, I don't think there's anything wrong if you want to be the next X, Y, or Z.
Yeah,
that's cool. You know, just do what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, follow, do you. But
that's
for me, it was always.
I can understand why you just want to leave it at hip hop, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, like, because like to me, it doesn't feel experimental.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels like this is my understanding of
your interpretation of hip hop.
You know, but I definitely think there's a lot of like influences of like rock in it and electronic and maybe metal. And sometimes I've had those moments where it gets a little aggressive.
Yeah,
but
nothing wrong with that.
It's still on. It's on hip hop.
Who were some of your favorite artists nowadays? Like mainstream artists, like not necessarily mainstream.
hip-hop,
Yeah,
or-
like bigger name artists out now.
You know, I'm really bad at keeping up with modern music.
Yeah.
Especially with hip hop, but I'm not like completely oblivious.
Yeah.
I really like Vince Staples a lot.
Okay. Yeah, North.
I've heard some stuff off of the new J. Cole album, and I'm surprised by how much I like it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. I just always assumed I wouldn't like him.
Such an interesting argument, the whole J. Cole fight. Is it too boring? Is it the hottest shit out in the world? It's interesting.
I was surprised because like what song did I hear today? I think it's called ATM.
Yeah, ATM.
And I was like, this is a really awesome song. And I was surprised by how reserved it was.
Count it up.
Yeah, it had like a very like it had a modern twist, but it also the backbeat and his flow. It was like I feel like I'm listening to something that could have came out 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like that on that album because like I listened through it. It's like I like some of J. Cole's older shit. Like I'm not crazy about him, and but I wanted to see like I wanted my interpretation of what the whole argument in the world is, because if you have Facebook nowadays, you're just volunteering yourself to be obligated to read into the arguments of the world. So it's like obviously I was seeing like, oh, is J. Cole shit hot or not? It's a flame emoji or a shit emoji. So I put it on and I was listening, and it's like for me personally, it's kind of boring for me. Some of it, it's like a lot of his songs are like slower and like, I mean, just my preference is more like upbeat. And that ATM song was definitely, I feel like his most upbeat to me. So I enjoyed it. Like I thought it was really good. The music video was dope.
Yeah, the music video is awesome.
Yeah, I love the visuals of like I love visuals in general.
Like I heard that song for the first time today, and I heard it once.
Yeah.
So it caught me off guard, and I was like, I like this. Like I fuck with it. I don't know if I'm gonna go on my way to listen to it again, but it was like a breath of fresh air for me.
Yeah.
It's
understandable.
Of course, like I think Kendrick's cool. I like a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
But then, on the flip, you got like your Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, like are you a fan of? That's the reason I ask. Like,
I like his personality. It's just
he's
like
interesting.
I just think that like I've watched like some interviews with him. Like I watched his Breakfast Club interview and like some other shit. And
I love those guys. The Breakfast Club. They had the most raw interview out, I feel, right now.
I think that it's like the music's all right. It's
not terrible.
At the end of the day, it's just like the shit's not for me. I mean, it's not made for me. It's not geared towards me. I have no interest in it. I'm not mad that it exists. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's whatever. It exists, but it's like in a realm completely different from what I'm trying to do. I feel like artists like that they're not super art focused. You know what I mean? They're hype focused, and I don't mean that in a negative way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
just
a different
rappers.
It's a different game. It's a different game.
They're playing a. I mean, like even like Riff Raff. Okay, like Riff Raff, I feel is not a fucking idiot.
No,
like he portrays.
I've seen some interviews with that dude where he's just talking.
Yeah, he's
straight
smart.
Up.
Like
fuck yeah, he's smart.
I read the autobiography of Gucci Mane. Like people play dumb, but like these people aren't getting as far as they are, making as much money as they are, and progressing as far as they are for being idiots.
My biggest argument whenever people like try to talk shit on Insane Clown Posse, I'm like, they're some of the smartest business motherfuckers in independent music ever.
Oh, I agree with you.
Ever.
They're definitely.
I mean, the music's trash, but
they're literally my opening bit at the Improv. They were my opening bit. My first bit was I fucking hate juggalos, and then it went off from there.
Yeah,
but I'll leave it at that. But like I agree with you. They definitely. I watched a thing on Vice on like how much money they've gave back to like charities and like how much money they've made, and it's just like it's fucking insane. Yeah. And just like you said, they're the smartest business people.
Knock the hustle.
Yeah, and it's like people were hating on that 6ix9ine and Lil Pump, like
oh yeah,
those dudes might be like trash, like as far as like your standards, but like you can't be mad that dudes are making money.
Well, so I I don't even. I cannot fuck with Lil Pump's music at all.
No,
I don't like. It's not for me. It's not for me. And I'm nope, not at all.
So
But
you don't think
6ix9ine? It's like I like his energy, but like the Lil Pump, like the drugged out trappy
like you
shit,
couldn't get into Gucci Gang, like you don't like.
it's not for me, man.
Like
It's not for me.
nothing about anything that he does is appealing to me as far as like videos.
I mean,
like,
the production's cool. I remember.
Yeah, it's
I watched a behind the scenes video with the dude that produced that beat. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But just like with him making the beat and showing how he made it and everything like that. And I was like, this is cool. The production, I think a lot of trap music, the production of it is insane. Just
absolutely.
Mixing that stuff is in a nerdy aspect. It's really interesting to see how they pull off getting some of those sounds to work and blend together the way they do.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the time that shit shouldn't be possible to be able to get like some of those frequencies to come out the way that they do. But with technology advancing the way it has, it's made that type of music possible, which is interesting.
Yeah. And like you've been doing the production end of it for years. So like you have a different like ear for it.
That's how I always listen to stuff, like I think my biggest thing now is I'm always like, what's most important to me with music is the intent. Like, what's the intent of this music? And I just want it to be genuine. You know what I mean? And somebody like 6ix9ine, it's like I feel like he's pretty genuinely just
I feel like
himself.
He's genuine.
I might not agree with everything, but he's being genuine. He's doing his thing, and I can't hate on it.
Now, what do you think about the whole Russ argument? Do you know who that?
I know who Russ is. I listened to his album.
Are you hip to like the argument that's going on in the world right now about how he said that it's not the rapper's fault that they're coming out with bad music nowadays. It's the engineer. It's the engineer's fault and the production's fault. And you know who Metro Boomin is?
No.
Metro Boomin is like one of the hottest producers out right now. He has songs. I
feel like I've heard
Drake,
that name.
You 100% have heard it. But so Russ did this interview and he said that it's not rappers' faults that their music is trash. It's the production end of it. Their engineers are not doing good enough for them. And
I could see that to an extent for sure.
I mean, but then you have all these people like Metro Boomin who just supposedly retired, but Gucci Mane just posted a picture saying that he just paid $1 million for Metro Boomin to come out of retirement just to go and produce his next album. That's a side bar though, but Metro Boomin was just like, nah, dude, like you're 100% wrong. I mean, maybe this wouldn't be the best thing to talk about right now because I'm not really like the most educated on like the background of it all. I just see that like that Russ is under fire because he said this because I mean he just doesn't think.
I don't think he's 100% wrong, but he's not 100% right. You know what I mean? Like when you're talking about the creation of art, it's all subjective to fucking begin with. So nobody's opinion matters because nobody's right. And nobody's wrong. I could definitely understand his perspective from the sense of like, there's a lot of artists that maybe choose to not work with the best producers. Or, and it's, I don't know. I mean, that's not necessarily the engineer's fault. It's teamwork.
Like, everybody. I just don't really see how it could be like.
But also, if somebody chooses to work with a producer and they're feeling the track and they write a song and they put it out and they're happy with it, who's somebody else to say like, I don't like that song, so it's a bad song?
That's a good point. It's like,
fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
If it makes you feel some type of way that's like, I feel good about this, and you're gonna put it out,
like 6ix9ine doesn't care if you dislike his songs.
No.
Like if you listen to it, like that was the goal. And like that's just like you said, that's just shit he wants to make. He's a super interesting dude. I did not know what to think about him until I watched the Breakfast Club interview, and like I get it, he's super cocky, but what is he, like 19? Like if I was like, can you imagine if you became as big as he is at that age, like what you would be like?
I mean, you gotta, dude, my if we want to talk about like my whole trajectory and like how things have gone for me or how they haven't gone, I think one of my biggest downfalls was that I was never cocky enough.
No?
I always felt that I was just way too modest and too nice. To a fault.
No,
you know what I mean? Like I go out of my way to help other people,
but no one would help.
And I don't. always. I have that artist mentality of not always. It's not that I don't believe in myself. I'm just, for a long time I was like really quiet. Like, I didn't push shit. It's not like that anymore. I'm a lot more hungry.
Why do you think
active.
you were like that though?
I think just because like I grew up, like I didn't have like a shit ton of friends or anything like that.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really have that like that reinforcement, I guess, when you're growing up. Like nobody in my family's ever come to see me play a show.
Okay, yeah.
Or anything like that. And like everybody that I fucked with in high school, like, you know, once I started doing shit, none of them people like really supported me when I was doing it for real.
And if you don't have
Everybody
anyone
kinda
like
got into their own
supporting
shit,
you,
yeah.
it's like, I mean, I can understand what you're saying though. Like if you never had anyone like coming and like supporting your shit, you're like, you could be like second guessing, like,
yeah,
and
you know, and it was
that's
just
a good way to look at it, and people don't think about that.
Whenever, you know, I was playing those like shows and meeting all those bands that we had mentioned before, like that was it. Like I was making a whole new friend group. You know what I mean? And like I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah, you're just seeing how it went.
And then it was like along the same time, like social media is like getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I always felt some type of way about like being the type of person that puts himself all out there like that. Cause I was always worried that like by putting my art out there in an obnoxious way, like I was going to annoy people and feel like I had the right to be all like every day, check me out, check me out, check me out, check me out. But then now we're at a point now where everybody's doing that type of shit, but with like their lunch. Yeah. And like, you know, look at me, you know, I'm here.
That's
I'm
the
there.
norm nowadays.
Everybody's a fucking promoter now.
That's the norm nowadays. And it's just like.
So, and then it's like, now I got to work 4 times as hard as I should have been working 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And like now, I mean, like now the people who are promoting a brand are competing with like literally everyone else in the world that's promoting themselves. Like, your social media is just promotion of yourself. Like, it's a crazy world that we're living in for sure. It's very interesting. It's a blessing and a curse.
That's why you need to be loud like 6ix9ine.
Yeah,
that's it.
Hey, that's a good point.
Like fucking
got to carve your own path.
None of us knew who the fuck that dude was. 6 months ago,
yeah,
we practically didn't know.
That's exactly it. He blew up in November. One track like kind of set him on fire, and now he has like almost like 7 platinum tracks or whatever. For instance, like Jimmy Wapo. You familiar with him?
Yeah.
So like Jimmy Wapo 2 years ago had no exposure whatsoever. Him and his manager Taylor Maglin, like, I mean, now he's fucking on fire. It's like he can't touch anything that doesn't like go up. Just run up the numbers,
man. I feel, you know, just being very proactive and having the right people behind you.
Yeah, you gotta
has
have
like a crazy group of people behind him pushing him. And I think that's honestly probably another thing that I always fucked up too, was just never, I'm like a control freak.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to be in control of every aspect of what I'm doing. But in that way, that was like, it ended up being a fault. Like not a good thing
you.
In the long, exactly, you know. But the other thing too is like I've like reached out. I had management for a couple years that it didn't work out.
Yeah, and it sours your taste on everything, and you.
Yeah, you know, I just feel like it's like I'm so experienced with like all these things now. It's like I know what needs done, but I'm still only one person with 2 arms.
Exactly, dude. And like I'm kind of the same way. Like I like to have control over things. Like I want to know like I want to do the visuals for everything. I have an expectation of it to be a certain way. Like even this podcast, like I just started this like the beginning of the year. Like I said before, I did one 4 years ago, back whenever shit was not as accessible. Like no one had podcasts back then, and it was basically me and Buzzy and my buddy Dylan just talking to ourselves or the people that we had in there. And it's like we would do live streaming and we would have no one watching. And it was just like back in a time whenever it wasn't a thing. But now it's the market is like everyone has a podcast now. Everyone has this. Everyone has that.
It's
so
fucking
like
wild. I'm like, it's funny. Like I don't feel any type of way about it. But I kind of do.
You're definitely an OG in the podcasting game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as far as like Pittsburgh music focused podcasts, I feel like I was like one of the first people to.
How many
really
episodes?
I mean,
Drop the number. Drop that. Go ahead. Drop
I
the number.
honestly don't even know. Like, 'cause I've done a lot of like numbered episodes. I'm in the 170s.
Okay, so
But
just,
I've had
just episodes that you fucking numbered, you have
Yeah.
170. Like, that's fucking dedication. Like, that podcast I did 4 years ago, it like dissolved because I didn't have enough time to make it work. But
Yeah.
like, how did you stay persistent and like constantly keep that going?
Because I wanted to.
I mean, like,
there's been I've taken months off.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Or there's been shit that's been out of my control, moving and things like that. I had my laptop stolen a couple years ago,
Jesus.
and so what I actually ended up doing was I downloaded Audacity on my work computer.
Okay.
And I had people coming in to my work when I was off the clock and recording episodes, so I could still put out content. Yeah,
You got to fucking do what you got to do, and that's dope to see.
You know, that was just, you know, I just wanted to do it. And it's not that hard for me to put out content every week, you know? I don't know. I record a lot in advance, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'll
and
try
just
to
bank it up a little
you
bit.
know, just try to like smash out 5 or 6 episodes in a week, and then I don't got to worry about it for a couple months.
Yeah,
You know, just,
that's definitely
So-
the way to do it.
you know, I'm not on as regular of a schedule as I'd like to be, but yeah.
So
The short answer is it's something that I still want to do, so I'm just doing it.
yeah, and like we were talking about before this even started, like it's just a good excuse to get together with someone and like have a conversation. And I mean, the more people you know, the more progress, the more potential of just things there are. Like you know, 1,000 people that I know. Like I know a bunch of different people. It's just interesting to see how it all goes together.
What I was gonna say when I was saying I don't feel some type of way about it, but I kind of do, is it's funny now because there's a lot of my friends that are putting out new projects in the summer.
Yeah.
And they're all like, catch me on like the so-and-so podcast and this podcast. And it's like, there's a fucking dozen other Pittsburgh music podcasts right now. Why don't you hit me up?
Is there?
Yeah. I'm finding ones. Like, it seems like every week I'm seeing there's another one.
Really?
I mean, they're all new. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah,
anytime
that's a good
I
point.
look into it, because, you know, I want to know.
Yeah, you
It's
want
not
to
like
know
this
the
ain't a
competition.
It's not.
No, but like you want to
'Cause
know
nobody
what
else
is
is me.
around. Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, I'm just curious. I just want to know what else is around.
Yeah, it's like
And,
you definitely want to know like what other shit is
There
out
was
there.
I think it was The Incline just did a little blog post on like
Yeah, the podcast.
like the 10 music podcasts you should know about in Pittsburgh or something like that.
I think they did.
And I wasn't even fucking on it. Or no, it was 10 podcasts in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, 10
but the
podcasts in
one
Pittsburgh.
there was 2 music focused podcasts.
Yeah.
And the one of them was just like, yeah, we upload episodes sometimes. I'm like, what the fuck? I've been putting
Yeah.
that shit every week. But, you know, the thing, I don't try to take that shit too personally, because all those, like your, like the Incline and even like with the city paper and shit like
Yeah.
that, it's all who you know.
Yeah,
it's
everything
friends
is who
scratching
you know.
each other's backs.
That's 100% what it is.
That's what it is. It's not.
Honestly, dude, I messaged them immediately, or I didn't message them, but I tweeted at them, and I was like, definitely new to this. I said something like, "Oh, I'm new to the scene, but I'm sure I'll be on here next year." And they were like, "Oh, we didn't even know about you," and they added me to their little list. And it's just like, I mean, like, I didn't think of anything. Like, I didn't expect them to do that. I didn't expect them to reply to me at all, but they were just like, oh, we didn't know what was going on. And that's just, I mean, that's basically what it is just getting your name out there and just like talking to people.
Yeah, see, so that's the wild thing, is just like, even though, yes, 170 plus episodes,
Yeah.
4+ years,
Yeah.
there's still people in my circle of friends that don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. They have no idea. They're oblivious to it. I was up at Epicast yesterday because Greywalker just did an episode with Drinking Partners.
Okay.
And somebody that was there that I've met multiple times was just like, oh, you do a podcast? I was like, yeah. Why the fuck do you think I'm around here all the time?
Yeah.
I didn't say that, but, you know, it's just like, and I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, you got your own shit going on.
Yeah,
but it's
for
just
sure. But
wild.
like, if you're in that world, I mean, I
And
can
there's
understand.
motherfuckers that are still like, oh, like, you got a band for the Sikes stuff? I'm like, yeah, I've had
Yeah.
a band for a while.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
people
like-
just, you know, they're not tuned in, and it's like, it's funny because obviously I know what the fuck I'm doing because I live in me. You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I'm putting stuff out all the time, so you assume that everybody that you're friends with on your social media sees your shit,
sees
but they're
it and
not.
does it, but
They're
it's,
not.
yeah, it's like if there's a 4-hour break, not everyone
You
scrolls all the way back.
You ever look at somebody like sitting next to you and just like not like creep on their phone, but notice the way they scroll through posts.
Yep.
Just like fast.
Fast
It's like
as
our
hell.
eyes are trained to like just like stop on things that catch our attention.
100%. Like that's why captions really don't mean shit anymore. People never even read the shit. I mean, I can't even say it. I read the captions a lot, but like a lot of people, I'm sure, do not read them. It's all just about a picture. It's I don't know. It's just it's all big game. Instagram. If you think about it, it's like everything comes into play. What time you post, like the type of shit you post at that time, like how you can't post anything really on the weekend after like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Because it just gets like overlooked and it's like a waste of a post.
Yeah. I was, dude, like I've like regrettably like dug into like, analytics and planning and all that shit. And
Yeah.
it's just like, fuck it, man. That's like,
It's too much. You're opening Pandora's box.
dude, I don't want like, social media should be an accessory to real life, not the opposite way.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
like I don't need this shit like controlling me that fucking bad. It's not that important. So it's just like whatever. I'm gonna do what I want to do when I want to do it. But that's also probably a reason why things haven't worked out as well as maybe they have for other people, because I kind of ignore a lot of the business aspects of it, or like that type of shit.
You stay true to the way that you think about it and the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
And like I can understand that. And like obviously the people that are like that could definitely bottleneck you. It's like you don't want to be too like hacky, or you know what I mean? Like that's the only way to like really describe that I know how to describe it. It's like you don't want to like put out like the corny, like just the cookie cutter type shit. And like I can understand that for sure. It's like I just want to be able to put out stuff that's like not like I want to put out quality shit that's like that I'm happy to put my name on.
That represents me accurately.
Yeah, like my work ethic, like how I have conversations, like this is why I wanted to start the podcast again. Like I had no idea whatsoever of who you are. Hit you up randomly online. And hey, do you want to come on? Absolutely. And we just have this crazy conversation, and like you just have no idea where it goes.
Oh yeah.
And like that's the best part about podcasting. It's like I've had like my friends see that I'm doing this now, and they'll hit me up and they'll be like, "Hey man, could I come on there?" And like I was like, "Absolutely, you can come on there." And then I say like my buddy Jay, who was on like episode 10, he was like, "Oh, I don't know if people will be interested in what I'm saying." I was like, "Dude, like why are you ever thinking it?" It was like one of the most downloaded episodes now. He fucking lives in 10th Ward in McKeesport.
Yeah.
Farms bees. Like he's just a very interesting guy. It's
yeah,
like,
it sounds awesome.
Yeah, I mean like people I don't know. I think people underestimate like the people who listen to podcasts. Like the podcast listeners are a different audience. It's like they're not people that are what's a good way to do like I get too deep into the way I think about things. Like me and my boss at the clothing store I work at, he was talking to me about like the type of like people that I'm having on and things like that. And it's just like the people who listen to podcasts are not just one certain podcast they're going to listen to. They're fans of like all different types of podcasts. It's like I have a rotation of just shit that I listen to all week. And like that's why like it's just, I mean, if you have one guest a year or one guest a week for a year, that's 52 guests a week. It's like you're going to get to a lot of people. I don't know, dude. I'm just trying to put out like good stuff, good conversations with people that I don't know that like I can just learn about. I feel people would find it interesting.
Honestly, it's the same reason why I started doing my shit. Was just like I felt that, my social network was starting to plateau.
Yeah.
And I was actually on somebody else's podcast before I started mine.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I suck at talking to people. Like I want to get better at this, and I want to get
exactly.
better at networking. So I just started doing the podcasts, and then I didn't know how long I was going to keep it going. I really didn't.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's just something to enjoy. It's just another creative outlet. It's like I'm not artistic as far as like being able to draw or paint or anything like that or make music, but like this is my creativity. This is my like artwork that I put out for people as far as like artwork per se. I mean,
yeah, with me being a I almost said a content creator, but I don't want to phrase it like that.
Creative.
I'm a creative person.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of stuff, and I'm always talking with people that make stuff. It's a really awesome just back and forth with a lot of the people that I talk to, and just like, why do you do it this way? And they ask me the same shit and just blah, blah, blah.
Everyone could gain something from someone else.
Now, since I don't know you either,
go ahead, ask me
I'm gonna
whatever.
flip it.
Go ahead.
So, like you mentioned, like doing bits and improv and stuff like that. So, stand up, is that something that like you're doing or you've done, or?
Yeah. So, like, I recently went to the Improv and was in this March Madness comedy competition. Okay, so it was 4 weeks. It was all of March. Started with 32 people. That all came about whenever I had a guest on by the name of Matt Light. You familiar with who that is?
No, the name sounds familiar though.
Matt Light is a local comedian.
Okay.
He's involved with like Black Craft Clothing. They just started a wrestling organization he's involved in, but
okay.
He was on, and like we've talked numerous times. I've known him for years, and I was like, yeah, man, like I've always wanted to do stand up. I've always just been a big bitch and like just been afraid to do it. And he was like, oh, I'm having this competition. There's 32 people, so it's like not super high pressure. It's like you can just come and do it. And I was like, oh yeah, like that's fine. Like yeah, I'll do it. And like think nothing of it. Texted me the next day, and he was like, you're going on the 7th at 8:00, and I was like, fuck, so I guess I'm doing this now.
Real, yeah.
So first week I went up there scared to death because like I never had a problem with like speaking in front of people, but like I was more or less just worried if people were gonna find my jokes funny.
So did you have like a routine that you already had, like kind of prepared?
Well, I mean my entire, since I've had an iPhone since like 2009,
just, like,
maybe
putting shit in it.
I have a notepads of just like things that I found funny that like I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do. I swear to God, I've always been saying like, oh, I'm gonna do stand up. I've never just like did it. And so I knew that I was gonna be doing this first set. I went through all my notes of just like random shit that I thought was funny, and like I started off by just like writing it all out, and then like just like I started a week beforehand. I waited way too long, and like I crammed for tests. I pretty much crammed for tests. Like that's how I learn everything. It's like I work better under the gun. So I just went through and I just started like writing shit down that I thought was funny, and like I just became obsessed with like, it's like building a puzzle. It's like you have little pieces and you could fit them in different ways and fit them in different ways. So like that was my first time, and then the first week went well. I advanced. Second week went well, and the thing that was different though for me is I assumed that everyone was going to do new shit each week, like a new 5 minutes each week. So like I found out I advanced, I would go home, like immediately I would go home and just start ranting. Like I would be recording myself in the car of just like rants of things that I thought was funny, because I do self-deprecating comedy. And I do just ranting comedy about things that I fucking hate. For instance, juggalos. Have a bit about vegans. Like I make things that everyone, things that I what's the word? Things that are relevant in my life, of what I just like have a bone to pick with them.
Sure, things that you're passionately bitter about.
Passionately bitter. That's the best way to describe it. That's good words. Yeah, so passionately bitter. But yeah, man, and I just advanced, and like I just came up with new shit each week. So that was it. I mean, like I just would write shit down, and now I just have a notebook, and I just like write down shit anytime I think of things. Like I'll be walking with my wife. Like we were walking in Colorado in like this shop, and like something randomly will just pop into my head, and I'll just record it in my phone or write an idea down. And I have another show coming up on the 12th at the OB House right on Steubenville Pike, and that is going to be a comedy showcase with a couple of the other guys that I was involved in that competition with. They asked me to be on the bill, and I was like, yeah, man, fuck it. I appreciate yins for having me. And so that's my next like show.
So this is like a new thing for you.
Yeah, this is new, dude. Like this is completely new to me, and I'm fortunate to even be where I am with it. I mean, you know, it's just like I was brand new, never had any open mics or nothing. I kind of just got thrown into the wolves. That's usually how I like to do it, though. It's
a lot
like
of the time, like I don't know. I know a lot of people. I mean, I imagine the stand-up community could probably be cliquey.
From
here and there, but that's the same way with music.
100%, dude.
But my thing, with me being somebody that's been in just the local music scene for as long as I have been, it's like I don't give a fuck if you're good or bad. Like if you're cool,
if you're cool,
I want you to come do some more shit.
That's it.
Just don't be a dick.
Yeah,
and be all right. Like if you're horrible, that might sit. But it's like you're like all right, and it's like okay, like I see room to grow, and he's a cool dude.
I'm not a hard guy to like get along with. Like I could usually like kind of find common ground with anyone. Like, I mean, literally anyone. Like I in high school, I was like hanging around with all different people. Like I was on the football team and like hanging out with like the skateboard kids. And like, I was never really like someone who was just like stuck to like one kind of person.
Yeah.
I just like, if you're cool, you're cool. Like I don't know why I've always remembered that fucking Dead Alive patch, and I was like, you know what, that fucking dude's cool because like that's obviously he knows about cool shit. It's like you're wearing a Beavis and Butthead shirt right now. It's like that's like everything that I've loved forever. It just reminds me of nostalgia. It's like, I mean, you're obviously like we have no idea of who each other is, but like I'm sure, I mean, we obviously find some shit to get along together with.
Definitely.
And I mean, it's surprising how cool other people are. It's like, I mean, you just have to give everyone a chance to let yourself get to know them.
Mm-hmm. That was the other really cool thing about doing the podcast. Is just like you already said before, just like actually having good conversations with people, not just like the how's ship it going? Oh, it's okay.
Exactly.
It's all right.
Exactly.
Like, no, like
your typical. Oh, what's up, bro? Haven't seen you in years. How you been?
Really, what have you been up to?
Yeah, it's like we're sitting down. Like, hey, man, plan to come to my house and sit with me for an hour and a half, and we're just gonna really get into some shit.
Yeah.
Instead of just like you said, hey, how are you? Yeah, like let's go get lunch sometime, and then it just like fizzles out. And
no, it's cool. There's a lot of the times like there's been people that I've had on my show that were like very standoffish and like I'm almost intimidated by them.
Yeah,
and they come on the show and then you find out they're super fucking cool.
Oh yeah,
and then
for
I've
sure.
had people that I thought were cool and then like I sit down and talk to them and it's like, oh shit, like
this isn't what I was expecting.
Act.
Yeah,
like,
this is not what I was expecting.
Cool. You're kind of boring.
Yeah,
dang.
And like and it's interesting because like the main reason, like, how long have you been listening to podcasts?
I would say probably about 5 years. I was listening to podcasts for maybe like a year and a half before I started mine.
So what was your what was the first thing that you started listening to?
WTF.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mark Maron is like literally everything I could ever want my podcast to be. That's exactly how I like. That's his poster right up there that he signed for me.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I was at that show.
Yeah, it's like I just think that he is such like an incredible interviewer. It's like everything. The best way I can describe his is just like a wave. Like he rides the wave of everything. Like nothing is too like abrupt or like choppy. It's just he's such like a wizard with words. I never paid attention to anything in high school as far as like English or like history. I was just not like a well-read person. Never read books or anything. So like my vocabulary is not where it needs to be. My articulation skills, I don't even know if that's a word, articulation, but
it's a word. To me, it might not be a word, but I know
you know what I meant. It's like
it's a word.
You know what I mean? It's like I want to be able to talk and everything. And Mark Maron is I feel the best in the business. Like my initiation to podcasting was Joe Rogan. I've probably been listening to him for like 9 years, since like way in the beginning.
Yeah.
My buddy Dylan just was obsessed with him and ended up getting me obsessed with him, and like we just started from there. And like along with Joe Rogan, we started getting into like Joey Diaz and Tom Segura and all them. And now it's like those dudes are like the fucking Mount Rushmore. Those are like the cool kids club of like all the podcasting.
Yeah.
They obviously are like all the like they have their own cool kids club of the comedy. They're all comedians that work together. They all have like huge podcasts. And my whole idea of it all is like you see people on like Ellen DeGeneres and shit like that, and like you could watch an interview like that with someone and you're like, you get that cookie cutter answer like, oh yeah, tell me about that one time your kid like
it's like they were like rehearsed interviews.
Exactly, it's just a rehearsed interview, and like in a conversation is where you could tell how a person is with like how their mannerisms, like how they talk, like how they answer things, how they bring things up. I just feel that it's a better way to get to know someone, and like I found people that I loved as far as like celebrities or like just comedians and things like that, and I wanted to listen to them talk. Like Bert Kreischer is like one of my most favorite things to listen to in podcasting, because he's just so like I do shit, I just want it to be raw. Like you could hear shit outside, you could hear like
fucking perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect. I still want that like that patina almost. Like I still want that little flavor of just like raw content. And I just feel that us talking, like I don't really have like a strong template of what I want to talk about. In my first episode with Zach Pishney, like I had a list of questions, and you could hear it like how I'll be like, so Zach, what's it like playing in this band? And he answers, and I'm like, so Zach, what kind of guitar are you playing nowadays? And it's like you could hear how it's progressed. I just want to know like I start off in the beginning, like how I ask I am always curious of what people were like in like middle school and like high school. So like I usually ask that because like some people were like, oh yeah, I was real nerdy in high school. Some people were, oh yeah, I was in sports. And it's just like you can go anywhere from that.
I was the same motherfucker. It's like my pants were wider.
Pants were wider.
And my hair was more colors. That's about it.
I mean, and that's understandable for sure. Did you read a lot of shit like growing up? Like were you a reader, or were you just like
nah, video games?
Oh, you're a video game guy?
Yeah, that was my shit, man. Video games. And that was the other thing that was really cool about the PlayStation MTV Music Generator.
Yeah.
Was like it was funny, like the one thing that finally got me out of playing video games all the time was a video game about making music.
Oh, that's cool though.
It worked out. But yeah, I was a huge gamer when I was younger. And then, yes, gaming and art and music. And then once I started getting into music like full time, that was around the same time that, you start working. And then, I moved out of my mom's house when I was 17.
Yeah.
So from there, it was just like, work.
What was your first job?
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell was the first job?
Taco Bell was the first job.
How long did you stay there?
I was there for maybe 2 years.
That's what's up there.
Yeah.
I appreciate all my shitty jobs. I really appreciate.
I like Taco Bell. I think like the worst job I ever had was at KB Toys.
You worked at KB Toys?
I worked at KB Toys.
Oh my god, which one?
Monroeville Mall.
What? Now tell me why it was bad.
The management.
Oh my god, that is such a devastating like.
Yeah.
My worst job was at KB Toys.
And
Jesus.
Working at the mall was pretty raw because I was like 19 at the time.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm working on, but prior to this, right? Like I was a mall rat. Like, like Monroeville Mall was my mall rat mall. Yeah. So it went from like hanging out at the mall on the weekends to working
there
and seeing other people hang out.
Yep. Dude,
I was like, fuck
I was
that,
the exact
man.
way.
And like my boss sucked. And it was just like a bad combination. I was there for like 6 months.
Same thing. That's literally the exact same thing. I went to Elizabeth. My mall rat mall was Century 3. I was friends with like Ryan Pervette and all them. And it's like, we would just go to the fucking mall. So I was friends with this girl. She was like, oh, I work at Gloria Jean's coffee shop. And I was like, yeah, I mean, fuck it. I'll work there. I'm already at the mall anyway.
Yeah.
Then you get a job at the mall, and all these people that you hang out with they're just there fucking with you while you're working. Like they're having a good time. Oh, let's go to Spencer's or wherever. And you're just fucking stuck there.
Oh yeah.
I quit my my coffee job because so I had these bosses, Vijesh and Sonia. Okay,
sounds about right.
Yeah, so they were the meanest people ever. They had no humor, not even a stitch of humor in their body whatsoever. I was like, 18, like you could play whatever music you wanted. You're just bumping fucking Chiodos and like All Time Low and Day to Remember. So whenever they'd come in, your whole day would be fucking ruined because it's like you're under a microscope the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and they say, you know, the rat tunnels in the back of the malls, how like, you know, you could take all this trash out and shit. Or Gloria Jeans would get these orders of caramel, like bags of caramel and shit. One of these bags of caramels leaked all over the tunnel, and like it was winter, so it all hardened there.
Oh, yeah.
They gave me a grill brush the size of a toothbrush and said, hey, we'll run the register. Can you just clean the back of the thing off? This was like 3 hours into my 8-hour shift. They wanted me to just clean this caramel up. I was like, you know what? Can I go on lunch first? I'll just stay after and just clean the fuck out of it. Never walked, but never came back ever. I got a call like 45 minutes later. They were like, oh, you know, your lunch break is up. I was like, I just ain't coming back. And they were like, what do you mean you closed tonight? I was like, nope, you closed tonight. Hung up. That was, that was my favorite job ever. But like the management was the worst part. It was the worst part ever. Yeah. It sucks that I'm sorry that your worst job was at KB Toys.
Yeah.
And other than the management though, was it dope?
It was cool. You know, like it was annoying having to so retail, I have like a very OCD personality.
Okay.
Like I want to put something somewhere and I want it to stay there.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. Retail, it doesn't work, especially with like shitty little kids picking up shit and moving it all around.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, it was fun on days when like you got to like demo toys and shit like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was just obnoxious. You know what? I'm going to fucking take it back. There's a job that I had, another retail job that was worse than KB Toys.
What was it?
The Exchange.
Oh,
Fuck the Exchange. That was the worst job I ever had. Yeah. I was only there for maybe 2.5 months. I almost completely forgot about it. But yeah, Exchange on McKnight Road. Fuck that place.
Why was it so bad?
They had all these really, again, management policies were super fucking weird. And just like their organization and the way that they, again, like my OCD shit, that's what made me think about it.
Yeah.
They would have you like, just like putting shit away, like grab stuff from the back room and then put it away. But then after you were done with that, go through, and if there was like too many copies of something, take it out so it only looks like we only have one left, and then put it in the back room.
Yeah.
So it was like constantly shuffling stock around to make it seem like we didn't have everything that we had.
So people were like, oh, I got to get this last copy of Evolution with David Duchovny.
Yeah, it was a fucking nightmare, man. That place sucked.
Are you a big movie dude?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah?
I know more than most. I know, but I know people that know way more than me.
Yeah,
I don't keep up with a lot of new movies because I'm like so caught up in all my other bullshit.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, like I have a good selection of movies at the house. My favorite job ever was I was a key manager at a Blockbuster Video.
Dude, we literally just talked about this on the last podcast. I ask people, like if you could, like there's always been a job that you've always wanted to have that you never got to have. I was too young. I was just at that cutoff for me. I wanted to work at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
I was just like a couple years too young.
Yeah, Blockbuster was tight. I really, really liked Blockbuster.
God, I would fucking like, that's all I wanted in life was to work there on the weekends.
Where the management was cool, but like the DM was a total bag of shit.
I bet.
But the job was so cool that it didn't matter how much of a bag of shit he was.
What was your favorite part about the job? Like, I know that's a broad question, but that is my dream job that I've never got to do. At the time,
like, I was like, that was probably the height of my interest in movies. Like, I'm talking like, I had a collection of movies that was alphabetized by director.
Oh, really?
Like nerdy shit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He said by director.
Yeah. Like that was
color coded and
that
alphabetized.
Was the pretentious bullshit I was on then.
That's all right though.
But yeah, I think whenever people would come in and like ask for help or needed to know something, like I knew what was up. I was like very passionate,
and it's
like,
not even like it was your job.
Yeah,
to get them.
Like,
it's like stuff you're like, man, this is
like,
awesome.
And then like
Jamie Kennedy and Scream.
Yeah, and working all the time. There's regulars that come in, And then like when you're dealing with regulars, like you get to like know like what people's movie tastes are.
Yeah.
And like you can make suggestions to them and like getting people like,
absolutely.
It's one thing like when you start getting people like turned on to like old movies that like you liked, like, oh, you never saw The Fifth Element? You're out of your fucking mind.
The Fifth Element, he just dropped it.
Dude, that's one of my favorite movies ever. Like top 5.
Really? Top 5?
Top 5. Fifth Element's definitely my top 5.
Wow. I'm excited. I do another segment, Desert Island Questions. We'll get to that in a little bit, though. But Blockbuster, though, it's like my favorite thing ever is like my brother's 6 years older than me. My mom would take us to Blockbuster on the weekends, and we would like, he was a video game guy, but I never was really. Like, I had N64, so the only thing my video games were Mario parties, like the new ones, because I had Mario Kart. That's all that mattered, and GoldenEye. But we would go there and just pick movies like just by the fucking covers of them, because back then it's like the only way you were able to see trailers was from movies. So like you would go rent a new movie and you would see trailers for old movies. And like I just remember like Dead Alive was something that I never saw. I just knew of the cover because the girl held the mouth open. And there were so many movies that I've never seen that I could still picture, like the movie with the monkey, like it's a horror movie with a monkey.
Oh yeah,
it's called
Monkey Shines.
Monkey Shines, yeah, Monkey Shine, and it's just like, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And it's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just I've still never seen that. But like,
Monkey Shines?
Yeah, but yeah. I know the cover of the movie.
Yeah,
it's
Dude, I have
nuts.
a really funny story about Dead Alive. So my uncle, who I mentioned earlier in the podcast, the movie guy.
Yeah.
So this was a time when he worked overnight at a restaurant.
Okay.
And whenever my parents would dump me at my grandparents' house, it was like how am I going to keep myself entertained? It's like, well, I'm going to watch TV.
Yep.
But my uncle was this archival nut job who would like set the timer on his VCR to record movies off the TV.
Oh, shit.
So he would just be like, hey, like I got a movie, from, 9 to 11. You know, don't fuck with the TV because I'm recording something. So it was one night. Have you seen Dead Alive?
No, I still never have.
So you gotta watch it, but there's a scene in Dead Alive that happens, and I guess I'm telling the story out of order now. Anyways, there's one night I'm waiting to be able to use the TV.
Yeah.
And we'll say it's maybe like it's 9 o'clock or something like that. Like I'm waiting for it to be 9 o'clock, and there's like 15 minutes left.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna turn on the TV and just whatever's on, so I could see when it's done.
Yeah.
And then I could go about watching whatever I want to watch. So I turn on the TV, and there's this fucking scene towards the end of Dead Alive, whenever like all the zombies are coming in to like try to kill the dude.
Yeah.
And he just has a lawnmower held up like this, and he's just plowing through people, and there's body parts and blood flying everywhere, right?
I might have seen that.
It's an iconic horror movie scene. Like,
yeah,
even if you
I
haven't
think
seen
I
the
saw
movie,
the scene
you might have
somewhere.
seen the scene. And at the time, I mean, I was young.
Oh yeah,
I was like really young.
Probably fucked you up.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck? Like I just turned off the TV, and I didn't turn on the fucking TV the rest of the night, right? And that shit, like, it was like one of those memories that like it stuck with me. Fast forward to years later, someone's like, "Have you ever seen Dead Alive?" I'm like, "No." And then we're watching it. I'm like, oh man, this is fucking awesome. So I made horror movies at the time.
Yeah.
And it gets to that scene.
And you're like, holy shit.
And then it's just like, yeah, like, this is that fucking movie, So like just from that alone, like my nostalgic attachment to Dead Alive is so much stronger because of like
that's awesome,
that
though.
stupid little story.
I mean, that's awesome though. It's cool how shit's recalled back. So what the fuck was I just thinking of whenever we were talking about that? We were talking about, a movie that like terrified me, as funny as it is, now in my top 10 of all time is The Faculty.
Oh, dude, that's fucking, I love that movie.
So it's absolutely my top 10 favorite, but like whenever I first watched it, I remember the exact day. My mom, we rented The Faculty and we rented John Carpenter's Vampires.
Yeah.
And I remember watching John Carpenter's Vampires. I remember coming home from church on a Sunday, asking my mom, "Hey, what movies do we get from Blockbuster?" And she was like, "You can't watch that. You'll have nightmares." And I remember watching John Carpenter's Vampires with my brother, not having nightmares. Like, I always loved vampires. That's my favorite vampire movie of all time. Besides for Blade. 30 Days a Night's a good one too.
What about From Dusk Till Dawn?
Oh, so good. There's too many good ones. The Burning. Anyway, so we're talking about fucking, what were we just talking? Oh, John Carpenter's Vampires. So then I watched The Faculty, and that movie scares the living fuck out of me. And you want to know
Robert
why?
Rodriguez joint, right?
The Faculty?
Yeah.
He had something to do with it.
Yeah.
You want to know why it fucked me up? Is because we always had thousand leggers in like our basement, and then little things that were in the tank. I was just like, I remember being so terrified that I would crawl into my brother's room and sleep on the ground because I was so scared of that. And I just remember my brother telling me, like, "Why are you even worried? Like, we don't even live near water." And I just remember thinking I had my pool in my backyard, and that's where they were living. I don't know. That's a random story, but that's 100% true. That movie like fucked me up whenever I was younger, because like we would have them like thousand leggers running around in our basement, and like it would just freak me the fuck out because I would feel like they were crawling in my ears.
Oh man,
I got chills right now. Yeah, man, I'm a big movie guy. I enjoy it. And it was always cool because my brother was older. Like, I was able to, like, I didn't really have to follow the guidelines of, like, PG-13.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the same way with my uncle. Like, when I saw Terminator 2 in theaters.
Oh, that's fucking
It was the first
epic.
R-rated movie I ever saw. I
Terminator
cried at the
2.
end when he's dropping down the lava.
Dropping down in there. It was just on
First
the
time
other
I ever
day.
cried in a movie. The last time I cried in a movie was the end of Toy Story 3.
The end of it?
Yeah, I was old as fuck. When Andy gives the toys
Yep.
back, I
Yep.
shed a tear. I was like, fuck, man.
Oh, man.
That's some sad shit.
I'm going to be honest.
In a good way.
I cry all the time in movies. You ever see Coco?
No, what's that?
Coco's a new Pixar movie about
I
Day
didn't
of the
see it.
Dead.
Oh, man. Fuck Pixar. In
Dude.
a good way, though. In a good way. You know what I mean? They're
Inside Out. Did you watch that? Mm-mm. Inside Out's about like your feelings. Like, it has like happy, sad. There's a part in there that will fuck you up. It's like me and my wife are sitting there and like we look at each other in the movie theater and I just have shit tearing down my face. It's like, if a movie makes me cry, I'm all right with it. I feel like it just it's like a resetting the clock. It's just like, there ain't nothing wrong with a good tear.
Yeah, no.
We watch This Is Us, and it's fucking, you know what that is?
Nah. Dude,
That's,
I guess I think I told you a little bit ago, like new movies, I'm like really...
it ain't a movie. It's a TV show that's on ABC that the only reason I thought you would know about it is because it's like takes place in Pittsburgh. It's like
really?
It's about Steelers, like the family. It's about like it's Mandy Moore's in it. Some fucked up shit happens, and like it's just every single episode you just cry. Every single episode you just cry. It just kicks you right in the fucking feels.
Man, I'm very really disconnected from a lot of like newer stuff because I'm just constantly in my own
I completely
cycle,
get
my
it.
own hustle. My girlfriend just recently moved in with me.
Yeah.
And but we'd been like loosely living together for like the past year anyways.
Interesting.
But now it's like like there's always Netflix on in the background. Like,
Absolutely.
she watches a lot of shit, so I've been like exposed to a lot more stuff than I would have been otherwise.
Like what? What's some of the most recent stuff?
Riverdale.
My wife watched that.
Yeah, I saw some of Riverdale. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Vampire Diaries.
No clue what that is.
It's some corny
Sounds
shit.
bad.
It's some corny shit, but like bad corny stuff.
More corny than Twilight?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not that bad.
He said no.
But I haven't seen enough of it. But I've seen I kept making fun of it because I was in the room when she was watching. There was some episode on the Vampire Diaries where like I don't know, they're like these like young beautiful vampires in college that have been alive for centuries or whatever, and like it's like all like drama and sex and scandal and it's hot. But like I guess like one of the main female actresses in it, her character is like no longer immortal or something. Like, and she's like starting to die. But it's like the actress, the way she's delivering it, like her scenes like, I'm dying. I'm dying. So now all the time to Stacey, I'm like, I'm dying.
Dude,
like,
I'd probably love it. I'm a sucker for all of it.
Oh yeah. Like it's so bad, but it's like
I wasted 121 hours of my life on the entire series of Gossip Girl.
Dude, I love Gossip Girl.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So I know my Stacy's not going to be listening to this.
Oh,
so,
man.
But don't throw me under the bus if you're a homie and I'm listening to this. But my ex, who we're still friends, but
Yeah.
she ended up moving to California and shit.
Hey, I'll say it for the record. If you don't like it, fuck you.
No. Gossip Girl was good. My ex was super into it, and I watched most of it with her. I also really like Gilmore Girls. I thought Gilmore Girls was fun.
That's something I got to get into. I didn't get to watch it yet.
It's really white.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like there's some.
he said it's a little white.
It's really white. It's not the most cultured
Oh
show.
wait, no. Gilmore Girls is with the mother and the daughter.
Yeah.
I have seen that. I'm thinking of Charmed. Charmed is the witches.
Yes.
Right. I didn't watch that yet. My wife was recently talking about that. We did watch Desperate Housewives.
I haven't seen any of Desperate Housewives.
Super white, but it's like. I mean,
It's good TV.
No, it ain't good TV.
No,
but it
it's
makes
good-
you understand.
Good in like a
It makes you understand why the elders in your life are hooked on General Hospital and like all Days of Our Lives and
Yeah.
things like that. It's like that shit. It's just like it's brainless and it just feeds your trash monster in your head.
the one show that I watched recently that I was like, this is tight, was the American Horror Story.
Oh yeah.
the My Roanoke Nightmare.
Oh yeah.
series.
It was awesome. I didn't like the end of it.
I didn't finish it.
Oh
But
yeah.
I watched most of it and I liked everything that
What
I
did you
saw.
get up to?
Fuck, man, I can't even remember right now. It was recently I watched it too. I think I got through, like they did the whole season, then it was like they go back for the next one.
Oh yeah.
And then I think I got through most of that, and then I remember there was like it was starting to get like a little goofy.
Did you see Kathy Bates in it?
Yeah.
Was shit going on with her?
Yeah.
Like
Like the actor, like wait, or does she come back?
just watch it. It's
Okay.
worth it.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Hey, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
Just watch it.
I will finish it eventually.
It's not like I'm not. Now listen to me. Whenever I say watch it, I'm not saying like, dude, it's so fucking good. I'm just saying it's worth watching.
Yeah, I'll finish it. I enjoyed
I love
it.
Kathy Bates.
Oh, she was a psychopath in that.
Oh, I love her.
Oh, dude, it was so.
I mean, look at her in Misery.
Yeah.
That's the original lunatic. It's like that's like, still gives me the chills.
So yeah, but that's a kind of a brief thing. I watched. There was some other like Netflix series that we watched too. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like like this, like these two teenage. It was like a boy and a girl, and then like they like kill somebody and they're running away from the murder.
Yeah.
What was it called?
The End of the Fucking World.
That one.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I think
It was very dark and like gothic, romantic type.
I remember me and Stacy watched that. It was like one of those. It was like one of those 2-day spans where one of us got sick.
Yeah.
And we got the other one
And you're
sick.
just like, we're
And
diving
both,
into this.
Oh yeah, we were both just in the bed with basically like like a mountain of Theraflu on either side
Man.
of us, just like, and we.
Sometimes you have to have a Netflix binge.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, whenever I watched Gossip Girl, I called off work for 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and I literally watched it for like a 5-day period.
Oh yeah, it's
addicting.
dude. You know it's even.
Did you expect the ending? Well, you don't even have to say who Gossip Girl is, but did you expect?
With who? What? Whenever I think about the ending of Gossip Girl, I just think about the wedding, and I'm like mad that it happened.
It made me. I was pissed at the whole ending.
We're fucking talking about this right now.
Hey,
but
this is my world in here,
but with
so it doesn't matter.
With who Gossip Girl was, like, I kind of always, I never wanted them to reveal it. Like I didn't really want to know.
Fuck that. I needed to know.
I did.
But I mean, after they did reveal it, I was like, how the fuck didn't I get that? It's like you're thinking about it and you're like, you know what? They didn't write too much shit about that person. They didn't write too much shit about that person either. And you're like, you know what? That motherfucker.
Yeah.
Man, what an epic show. My wife refuses to watch it. You know what else she doesn't want to watch? I've been begging her, literally begging her. I begged her one time on my knees to watch Harry Potter with me. The entire thing. She refuses.
Me and Stacy have just been going through and watching all the Harry Potters. I watched the first 6 in the past couple of days again.
God, it's unreal.
They're fun.
They're
fun.
She refuses to watch it though.
What's your favorite Harry Potter movie?
Oh my God. Honestly,
I've been thinking about it now since
I
I've
like
been going
chunks of like the first movie when he's getting okay, let me start from the beginning. In the beginning of my love for movies, I always appreciated one section of movies, and that's whenever the people are gearing up for the big fight. For instance, like just shit that pops in my head. Tremors. Whenever like Bert and Reba are getting all that guns. Whenever in Desperado he has his guitar case full of guns. Whenever fucking everyone's just loading up all their pistols, strapping it to themselves. Like I have always been obsessed with like those gearing ups. Like in Terminator, whenever they grab that big ass fucking room, I just love it all. So I love in the beginning of Harry Potter whenever he's gearing up, he's getting his wand, he's getting all of his shit. So I love that.
There's something about the first Harry Potter movie that reminds me a lot of like The Goonies.
Oh yeah, because that's the first of it all.
Yeah.
So like that's like I feel like
also shout out to Stranger Things. I did watch Stranger Things.
Oh, unreal. Yeah, that's very, very good. I feel
some way about some of the stuff in the second season.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the third one's going to get a little bit wild too.
Yeah.
I just like anything that has like a group of kids. Like the Monster Squad, I have a whole fucking leg sleeve of the Monster Squad. And like, it's just, I love kids like, you know, like getting together and just like taking over. Like it, like, I felt like the new It was really, really similar to Stranger Things. I don't know. They just really reminded me of a lot of each other.
Well, I think that was probably calculated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Harry Potter's though. I mean, I would have to say Chamber of Secrets and a tie between Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire. It's like, I mean, I just love them all.
Chamber of Secrets was the one I defended like for so long, and then watching through them again, dude. Prisoner of Azkaban, it's just like I just love. There's so much like if you get into like the nerdy aspects of movie making, like there's so many cool like practical effects in that one. Plus like the time travel and all that other fun stuff.
Who's your favorite character?
I never thought about that.
No.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever thought about that.
No, let me rein it in a little bit between like Harry and Ron and between like Harry, Ron, Drake or Draco and like that, you know, like the main little group of cronies. Like I always fucked with Neville Longbottom. I knew it from the beginning. I was like, you know what, this dude's gonna get made fun of, and ever since he broke his arm in the beginning, whenever they were going to find a rememberal. Neville's got a rememberal. Yeah, like I always knew he was always my favorite character of all time. But I was always like I always liked like Snape and like Slytherin. I always gravitated towards like the dark, like weird shit. Absolutely.
Yeah, I never thought about like who my favorite character was. I was just happy that it all existed.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good way to look at it. Sometimes there's no reason to go that deep into it.
Yeah.
You just got to appreciate it as a whole. As far as me asking you about things, that was pretty much what I had to ask you.
Cool.
If that's all right with you, we could jump into the last segment.
Let's jump into it.
Is there anything you want to ask me?
No, not while I'm being put on the spot, but if it comes up, I will.
That's fine.
I'll throw it out there.
Okay, so this last segment, I ask everyone. It's called Desert Island Questions. Are you a fan of The Office?
Yes, but I watched like the American Office.
Yes.
I watched the majority of it a long time ago.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot of it, but I did watch it and I enjoyed it.
Well, this just comes from the episode where they get locked out of the office because there was a fire. So Desert Island Questions, I have 3 categories and I give each guest 3 choices to pick with them to take on a desert island. So the first category is movies. So if you could choose 3 films to take with you on a desert island to watch over and over again for the rest of your life. Now, if need be, I'll edit this out if it takes you a long time to come up with them.
Fifth Element, Big Trouble in Little China, and the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh my God, those are such good answers. You know, it makes me sick. The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how it's basically just Transformers, but with just turtles.
Yeah, but the shit ain't for you, man. Don't worry about it.
It ain't for you. But I'm a fan of the Ninja Turtles, so I had to watch that.
Yeah, no, I saw him in the theater, and you know what? It was like, I remember I was in the theater in line to get my ticket, and there was this little kid in front of me that had like a Michelangelo backpack on, and he was all fucking stoked. I was like, "This
probably
is for
never,
him.
probably
I'm
never
not
even
gonna
seen
sit here
it."
and be like an old miserable fuck about it. Like, there's
I still watch
There's
them.
stuff that I liked about them and stuff that I didn't like, but overall, I'm like, it's just not for me, man.
I liked Megan Fox in them, but you can't beat the '90s one with the actual costumes. Those were both epic.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of them. But so, Big Trouble in Little China,
Yes,
epic movie. That is
one of the best.
That's not something that I expected to come out of your mouth. Not expected.
I have a big David Lopan tattoo.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, I also have all the Ninja Turtles tattooed on me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't have a Fifth Element tattoo, but it's one day.
Coming soon.
One day. I have the rest of my life.
Yeah, rest of your life. Why rush now? Man, look at you, though. Real quick with those answers. Some people take a little bit. Okay, so you said you didn't read
I was stuck. My delay
Yeah.
was I was really close to saying the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh, my
But then I
God.
thought about it, and I was like, I need to take Ninja Turtles over that.
Man, I'd
down
love
to
to see
three
your movie
movies, that's
collection.
hard.
I'd love
Down
to
to
see your
three is
movie
hard.
collection. I'm sure it's, I mean, with those answers right there, I couldn't even imagine what you got. A bunch of good stuff.
I have movies.
As far as like I usually ask people 3 books, but since you said you don't read a lot, I'm going to switch it up to video games. That's like the constellation question.
Cool.
So 3 video games to take with you.
3 video games to take with me.
Yeah.
Can I take an arcade cabinet?
Sure. Why not?
All right. Marble Madness arcade cabinet.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
And Mortal Kombat 2.
For Sega.
Actually, no. Arcade. 2 arcade cabinets. I'll take the Mortal Kombat 2 arcade, the Marble Madness arcade.
I'm good with
and
that.
Final Fantasy VII.
Man, you know,
Because it's on, I could play it on PS2.
yeah.
And that could also be my DVD player to play my 3 movies that I bring.
There you go. Efficiency right
Yeah.
there. A random thought. So at Kennywood, they had the Simpsons arcade game.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate the Simpsons. I could have never got behind it. I don't know why.
I like the Simpsons one.
I like the sweet spot of it back in like 2006. I haven't watched anything new past like then. Or why is it good or bad?
No. I don't know how I'm going to live without Tetris. Sorry. I'm really sweating this.
I don't know how to live without Tetris. Tetris was good. I was always a Dr. Mario guy.
Tetris is like my stress relief. If I get really stressed out,
Oh, you still play it?
I play Tetris. It calms me down like nothing else.
Do you still play it? Do you play it on like
I got it on my fucking phone.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you play that?
Yeah.
That's dope though. I mean that's understandable. Tetris. I loved the Simpsons arcade game though.
Yeah, the Simpsons arcade game is great. And
That was my
the
shit.
4-player Turtles, 6-player
Oh my
X-Men.
god, so good, so good.
Yeah, all those are fun, man.
I didn't really like console video games, but I did love arcade games. That was a big deal back in the day.
Dude, the Marble Madness arcade cabinet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with
I'm
Marble
not.
Madness. It's just a stupid game where basically you're in control of a marble
Okay.
and you have to just guide it along a path and it can like fall off the edge and there's like tricks and stuff. And it's on Nintendo, but the arcade cabinet of it, the way you control the ball is the same as like, have you ever played like one of those golf arcade
Oh
games?
yeah.
It's like but it's like that type of a control system.
That's awesome.
So you use the ball to manipulate the marble through and like these,
I mean,
like,
that
little
shit will
puzzles.
probably keep you busy
Oh, yeah.
forever.
It's hard as fuck.
I bet.
It's so fun though.
Okay, those are good answers as well. And the last question is, now this is going to be difficult maybe for you because you're such a music head, but three 3 albums to take with you.
3 albums to take with me.
Over and over again.
Over and over again. All right. So we're going to go light, medium, and dark.
Okay.
So for light, I'm going to take Bjork's Vespertine. It's a very calm album,
Okay.
but very interesting. For my medium, I'm going to take Mindless Self-Indulgence. Frankenstein Girls Will Seem Strangely Sexy,
Okay.
because it's a mixture of electronic and techno and hip hop and punk rock and metal in some degree. It's like a good
Mix of it
spans
all?
a lot of different things, and there's also like 30 tracks on the album, so
That'll
it's a
fill
good,
up some
it's a good,
time.
It's a good fucking cheat code. And then for dark, at the very, very, this is gonna be a rough one. Let me think. Oh wow, an album that I would never get tired of.
It's a hard question.
I'm just gonna say Dillinger Escape Plan, Miss Machine.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes,
That's a good
Those
one.
are my 3 I'll take with me. I can live with that. Those are all very dynamic, different albums that have a lot of different things to them. So
Those are good answers. Those
Yeah.
are all different answers. Those are all good ones.
Yeah.
I like that. And this is the last question I ask everyone. This is something I feel that's very interesting,
Okay.
and that is revealing. So if you were able to sit down and have a conversation with anyone in the world, alive or dead, who would it be?
probably Jimmy Urine from Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Frankenstein Girls, that album changed my life. It's my favorite album of all time.
Really?
Yes.
I can't say that I've ever listened to it.
I can't say that it is a great album.
But it's something that...
It changed the way that I thought about music.
Okay.
And it opened my eyes to the possibilities of, you don't have to make... Music doesn't have to be one thing. Like, you can throw all of this shit into a pot and be very unapologetic about it. Because that was one thing about MSI, that they're just very like, fuck you.
Yeah, if you don't like
We
it, you don't
what
like
we're
it.
doing. You don't like it, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of... It's funny now because as I've gotten older, the album's only gotten like more... I understand the album a lot more.
Yeah.
Because whenever they put out that record, like the Jimmy Urine he was like 29 or 30 when that album came out.
Oh, really?
So, and I'm like 15.
Yeah.
And like I didn't understand like all of these themes that he had. Like he has a song about like being too old to like keep up with what's hot and current, and like all these other little jokes and quips about just like growing old but still being like young at heart. That's what like a lot of the material's about, and it just really stuck with me as I got older. Like, like all of this stuff makes sense.
That's awesome.
And as I've gotten older, like there's one song on the song Bitches. The beginning of it is a sample from a Susie and the Banshees song.
Okay.
And as I got older and I'm starting to dig into like discovering old music and like getting into like old 80s goth and electronic stuff.
Yeah.
Start listening to Susie and the Banshees, and then I hear that and I'm like,
Yeah, and
oh,
you're like,
shit.
this is what
Like,
that is.
All the stuff that I'm naturally like getting into is the same stuff that they
were
were already
into.
listening to.
That's
Like,
awesome.
So it's like one of those things where it's like my life path was on that.
Yeah.
So I would really like to just sit down and talk with that dude, because it just seems like, I mean, like now, like he's still doing music stuff, but I mean, he was in the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Really?
Yeah, he was what was like Half Bit or whatever, or
Holy shit.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. That's Jimmy Urine. And,
Wow.
So he's like doing that kind of stuff, and I follow him on Instagram. For the most part, it seems like him and his wife are just chilling. in
That's
New
cool,
York
though.
and just doing their thing. But
Can't
like,
beat that.
I feel like that he was a dude that was super ahead of the curve and never afraid to be himself. So I would like really like to sit down and talk with him one day just about his creative process.
That's understandable.
I've always looked up to the dude, even though like he's like a total goofball. That's like a character, you know what I mean? I think like inside there's like a really creative person that
Absolutely.
Definitely like helped shape my weird kid brain, and gave me the confidence to be as weird as I fucking want to be.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming
Thanks
over
for
and sitting
having
and
me,
talking
man.
to me, man.
And I hope all the fucking stand-up stuff works out for you.
Yeah,
If I get a chance, I'll definitely come out and check you out.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna just see how it goes. Hope for the best.
I will throw this out there. It's funny you were talking about like keeping the notes and stuff of things and shit. Like, dude, I've been doing the same shit for like the past 3 years.
Yeah, it's just like
I don't know if I'd ever want to do stand-up.
No, but
it's not for me. But
I have so many ideas. I want to write this shit down just so like one of these days I could go back and like elaborate more onto it.
And I think I mentioned earlier, just talking about when I get into something, I get into it.
Yeah.
And I listen to Bert Kreischer and Joey Diaz and Joe Rogan, Tom Segura, like all those are all people that I'm into.
And they make you think that if they could do it, anyone in the world could do it.
Those are people that I got into after I started the podcast. You know? Because obviously it started with Mark Maron, and I only found out about his show or his podcast through his Netflix show.
Yeah.
So I came in that way, and then I start finding out about. But I always like stand up. You know what I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think it's anything I've really planned on doing, but I still do like observe funny shit, and it's like, well, I don't want to forget this. So
because like I mean, write it down. Realistically, like you don't have to do it now. Louis C.K. started whenever he was fucking like 35 or something, and became the. Well, now he's in somewhat of an overcast, but he made a name for himself while he was out there.
I think that the dude will.
He will come back bigger than he ever was before. 100%.
All right. One more thing, I guess. Did you see Michelle Wolf's White House shit?
No.
Did you hear about this?
No.
Do you know Michelle Wolf?
No.
Okay. So Michelle Wolf is a stand-up. She's fucking hysterical.
Okay.
But she was the host for the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Okay.
It just happened like a day or two ago.
Yeah.
And it was, dude, everybody's flipping out because she went so fucking hard on like basically everybody in the control of the world right now. Dude, like this, like her whole like speech that she did, which was basically just like, it's a 20-minute like stand up. Like she's ruthless. Anyways, and it's so funny. Like at the beginning of the fucking thing, like she makes these jokes and she's like, "You really should have looked into this before asking me to do this," because she does not hold back.
Wow, I'm gonna have to watch it.
Everybody's like, did she go too far?
I gotta watch it for sure.
It's savage.
This just came out a couple days ago.
Yeah,
dude, I have no idea. I'm gonna definitely check it out right after this. Man,
and like then go back and she just put out her first full special, and she's been like, she was a writer on like Trevor, like a Daily Show, and a writer for Seth Meyers.
Oh, okay.
She's like worked with a bunch of people.
Yeah,
but like now she's like doing stuff, and she put out that.
I'm gonna definitely check.
She put out that stand up that's really fucking good, and then they asked her, I guess basically because like, oh, we should get like a female comic, and they probably didn't look into it any further than that.
Yeah, they probably didn't.
Dude, like the first thing out of her mouth is just like, well, like a porn star says when she's about to have sex with a Trump.
Oh, let's get my this the fuck God! Over with. Oh,
like that's the first thing out of her mouth.
She really said that.
Yeah, dude. It's.
Oh, I'm excited to watch it now. I like edgy comics that are just like saying "fuck it."
Dude, it is nuts.
Did you see how Tom Segura got eaten alive by the Louisiana people?
Oh yeah, for the border.
So funny. I mean, like, I can understand why people get mad, but like, I'm a fan of comedy, so like, I'm not as like critical. I mean, I'm also a fucking like, I mean, I'm raunchy as shit myself, but like, I don't know. I think that shit is funny,
dude.
I'm definitely gonna watch it after this.
Watch it, dude. It's solid. But let's cut this. Thank you again for having me.
Absolutely. Take a minute and plug whatever you'd like.
So very, very simple. I'm not going to throw all my social media out there, but I'm at The Real Sikes on everything. That's Sikes with an I, not a Y. Motherfuckers, for the past 10 years, I've been spelling it Sykes. Even on like...
Thanks, Oliver Sykes.
Even somebody fucking shared an episode of my podcast.
And spelled it wrong.
And still spelled it wrong, and it's right there.
Suckers.
Fucking dummies.
Muppets.
But I'm at The Real Sikes on everything. You can go to therealsikes.com, which is like my official website if you're not into social media. Or you
I'll have all this in the description below, too.
And then Greywalker, you can find greywalker.net. And, we're on all the social media and stuff too. But I highly encourage everybody to take a break from that and then just look us up on our own curated websites, because Facebook ain't going to be around forever anyway. So don't get so comfy with it.
And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna have all these links in the description below, so you can just go right to the bottom and click on that.
Start the Beat with Sikes is my podcast.
Yeah, he has a podcast
it's
himself.
Available on iTunes, and if whatever platform you're listening to this on,
you can
find me as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you for making the trip. For everyone else that's listening, thank you for coming back. Just going to keep pumping out these episodes with very interesting people like my man Sikes here. I'm happy we had a good conversation. Thanks for everyone listening. For everyone listening, you can follow me on social media, Instagram at I'll Call You Right Back, Twitter at ICYRB Podcast, Facebook, I'll Call You Right Back Podcast, or you could email me at I'll Call You Right Back at Gmail and let me know what I'm doing well, what I could do better, or if you have someone that you'd like to have on the podcast. Again, thanks a lot for listening, and I'll call you right back.